All right, here we go. We are in lesson 10, video 2, module 5, and you can see we have a problem right here in front of us, and this is from number 1 in your book, so please follow along and take notes. Make sure you're writing things down as you go along, okay? So what do we notice about the rectangle we have here? The directions say find the area of the rectangle. So couple things we can notice right off the bat is we have 1/4 unit, right? That is a 4. Sorry about it, it's a little sloppy. 1/4 unit and 1/2 unit. So our side lengths are both less than 1. They are both fractions. And remember, unit we're just using instead of maybe foot, meter, anything like that. Just to make it simpler, we're just saying unit. Okay? Do you think the area of this rectangle is more than 1 square unit or less than 1 square unit? The area of this little rectangle seems like less, right? Since we have a fraction here and a fraction there, that would kind of make sense. When the side lengths of a rectangle are less than 1, the area of the rectangle is less than 1 square unit. Instead of thinking about how many square units it takes to cover the rectangle, we're thinking about how much of 1 unit square is covered by that rectangle, okay? And you might remember in lesson 8, we talked about this. We've been talking about it a lot in this module. This is 1 unit square, right? And it has 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit side lengths. So a unit square is 1 square unit. It's a lot of words, so I just wanted to write it down to help you out there. And if this is half, right? Let me just make it a little bit darker for you. If this is half, then we can see that 1 square unit divided by 4 is going to be the area of each tile, right? Just sort of separating this out down here so it's a little bit easier for you to see, right? And I'm not talking about this up here. I'm just talking about this one because we were talking about unit squares and square units and how they all work. So you can see here that there's 4 of them if they're all cut into halves. So that's just some background knowledge to help us out with this problem up here. Let's draw to help us find out how many rectangles with side lengths of 1/4 unit and 1/2 unit fit into this unit square. And we already have it drawn here for us already, but let's just think about, okay, if this is 1/4, right, then I can draw a line, a little box here with my green. Maybe I should use pink to make it a little bit easier to see, right? Just kind of highlighting it there for you. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4. So I made it so that this is 1/4 and I have 4. Yeah. And if this is 1/2 going this way, then I'll draw a line here cutting it in half. Okay, and you'll be able to see that a little bit clearer on the next few since this one is already drawn for us. But how many rectangles with side lengths of 1/4 does it take to make 1 unit? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Okay, you see how we're doing it, right? And then how many rectangles with side lengths of 1/2 does it take to make 1 unit? 1, 2, right? So we're talking about this whole one and this whole one. 2 of them make a half, okay? So now we have 1 unit by 1 unit. Do you see that? This is 1 whole, 1 unit. And I'll put it over here just to make it clearer. This is 1 unit. And this is 1/4 of it. And this is 1/2 of it, right? This might be making you think back to module 3 when we were talking about multiplication of fractions. And we were doing this same kind of thing, right? So now we have 1 unit by 1 unit. And we have our whole unit squared drawn. And we know this is a unit square, right? Because it is 1 unit by 1 unit, right? Each side is 1 unit, and that makes it a unit square, like we were talking about. Okay. We have all of our lines drawn across, right? We have our fourths going all the way across. We have our halves. So now we have equal parts. Now, how many equal parts do we have? Do you see the 8 parts, right? Yes. So each part of the rectangular tile with side lengths of 1/2 and 1/4. So can we find the area now of our shaded rectangle? Do you see that it is 1/8 of a unit square of a square unit? I put SQ there. Can you see that? SQ? Okay. So because we partitioned the unit square into equal parts, we can find the area of the parts. The area of the shaded rectangle is 1/8 square unit, right? 1 square unit divided by 8. See how we have 1 square unit divided into 8 parts. So each one is 1/8. Yes? Okay, very good. Now let's look at another way to do it. There we go. What do you notice about this one? It's very similar, right? It's still 1/4 and 1/2. 1/4 and 1/2. You see that? But this student broke it into more parts, right? This student broke it into 16 parts. Did the student get the same answer that we did? I mean, it says here 2/16 because there's 16 parts and there's 2 out of 16 instead of 1 out of 8. You know what? Let's think about instead of, we'll just kind of overlay, right? All they did was they broke it into more parts, right? And 2/16 is equal to 1/8, right? Because 1/8 times 2/2 is equal to 2/16. 2/16 divided by 2/2 is equal to 1/8, right? So this is just broken into more pieces. All right, I hope you can see that. Very good. And like I said, it's very similar to what we did when we were multiplying fractions. Let's move on a little bit more and look at this problem. Here we have, we're going to just start with this top part here. Make it a little bit less for you, visuals for you to look at. 2/3 unit by 1/4 unit. Yes? Now this is starting with the smallest part, right? The last one I had a little bit of drawing there for you. Now, how can we draw to build the whole unit around this piece? 2/3. So if we have 2/3, then we know that there's another third missing, right? So we're going to draw that part up here, 2/3. And then if this is 1/4, then I know there's more parts there, right? So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 parts there. Okay, and then we're going to draw it out a little bit more, and we're going to draw our lines all the way across. This is the same thing as this. This is exactly the same, and it's exactly the same as what we had on top. We are just building it out. Do you see that? So here I have 2/3, and here I have 3 lines, which makes 4 parts. So now I have whole 1, right? So this is 1 unit, and this is 2/3 of it and 1/4 of it. Okay, so the area of these 2 would be 2 times 1/12. Why are we multiplying by 2? Because there's 2 of them, and each one is 1 out of 12. So 2 times 2/12. All right, and see if there's anything else we want to say about this drawing and what we notice and what we see there. Okay, we're going to be doing some more of these in our next video. It'll be video number 3. And we're going to be thinking about thirds and fourths, making twelfths, right? And we're thinking about multiplying fractions there. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Nice work, everybody. Aloha.